let's take you to Mpumalanga. That's where Newzroom Afrika's Mweli Masilela is standing by for an update for us. Mweli, that province, one of those that have been identified, in fact, as a hotspot. You'll remember that 300 hotspots have been identified by police. More officers being deployed to some voting stations to ensure that the vote goes ahead safely today. Where you are at the moment, Mweli, what's the situation like there?
Michelle, what I can tell you is that this voting station where we are here in Gamagugu in Mbombela, it opened on time, and as you can see behind me, the queue is moving. We are not experiencing long queues at the moment, but indeed, as you are saying, here in Mpumalanga, there's quite a number of areas that have been identified as hotspots, and we know that the Minister of Police, Pegitele, was in Pinar, which is one of the areas that were identified as problematic, so they deployed more police officers to ensure stability after sporadic protests in that particular area. In fact, we're told that about 59 voting stations in the province are high risk. That is why they are deploying about 6 police officers to monitor the voting process there in each and every voting station. As my colleague here at Kolandov is showing you, in this particular voting station as well, there are police officers that are looking into the situation to ensure that people indeed vote without any fear of intimidation. As you have mentioned, the minister, that is the Minister of Police, they said that, well, all along, Mpumalanga hasn't been one of the hasn't been a province that is problematic. It was Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and probably the Eastern Cape, but now they had to zoom into Mpumalanga after those issues. But so far, the voting process is going smoothly here at this voting station, and a lot at stake, Michelle. People here in Mpumalanga will be voting for different reasons, because we know that in almost all the municipalities, the problems have been almost the same. People complaining about raw sewage spilling onto the streets. They are complaining about lack of clean drinking water. They are complaining also about the selling of RDP houses by some officials at the municipalities. We know that in Emalahleni, for example, there were some officials at the municipality that were fired for allegedly being involved in the illegal selling of RDP houses. That is something that also happened at the Chief Albert Lutuli local municipality, where also some officials had to be removed from their positions because of those issues. But we know that the ANC is currently in control of almost all the 21 municipalities in the province. But there is one municipality, Michelle, that we are looking into, which is the Stiftschwete local municipality. We know that it is run by the ANC, but the DA has run a strong campaign there, because we know that in 2016 the ANC maintained to get 32 seats out of the 58 seats, but the DA, they're getting 17 seats. So it will be interesting to see if indeed the ANC will maintain control in that particular municipality, because we know that other opposition parties, especially the Economic Freedom Fighters, as well as the Freedom Front Plus, have been also running a strong campaign there. So those are some of the issues, Michelle, that we'll be looking into as we visit different areas of this province. And of course, later during the day, we'll also witness the voting of the Deputy President, that is David Mabuza, who is expected to vote in Barberton at around 10:30 this morning, Michelle.
2 terms as Premier of the province, Mweli. David Mabuza serving 2 terms of the province there as Premier. He's moved to national politics. Be interesting to see how that impacts the outcomes of these local government elections. You mentioned some of the other parties really on the face of it making inroads possibly in Mpumalanga, which is majority ANC. Do you see perhaps the EFF, the DA, even the IFP coming into play in these elections?
Indeed, Michelle, as you know that in the provincial elections, we know that the EFF overtook the Democratic Alliance to be the second opposition party here in Mpumalanga. So we're expecting that this time around there will be some movements also in some municipalities. We are looking also into the issue of Bushbuckridge. In fact, Bushbuckridge has got the longest PR ballot paper with 19 contestants. That shows in terms of the fierce contestation in different municipalities in the province. So we know all these political parties have been moving around gunning for support in those municipalities. We know also there are also some smaller parties that have been also campaigning. For example, there in Bushbuckridge we've got the Better Residents Association, which has been quite enjoying some strong support with obtaining about 14 seats in 2016, being the biggest challenge for the ruling party there. So it's really interesting to see that maybe some of these political parties will be also getting a piece of that particular cake. But also, Michelle, here in the province, we've got about 130 independent candidates in some municipalities, including Bushbuckridge and Mkhondo. We know that some of the independent candidates also launched their manifesto collectively, especially in Mkhondo, about 16 of them. That tells you that indeed there is a huge contest in those municipalities, but indeed we'll see once the counting starts after people have voted in terms of the direction of this election. But we know that also the Premier of the province, that is Refilom Tsipane, will be voting in Emalahleni today. So we'll also try and get as much information as possible in terms of what is happening in other areas, as we have mentioned, some of those hotspots. It's not only here in Mbombela, there's also the Masilela, as well as Mkhondo municipality. That is some of the areas that will be monitoring, because we know that those are the areas where heavy police presence has been placed to ensure that people vote freely without any fear of intimidation, Michelle.
Thanks very much indeed for that update. He's live to us there from Mpumalanga, just one of the provinces that have been flagged by police as a hotspot area ahead of these local government elections.